I said before the break, Devan Kaney is the face of the NLL. She may or may not agree, but her Twitter profile says host and senior producer at NLL, sidelines for the Philly Wings. And there she is. She joins us from the battleground state of Pennsylvania. G'day, Devan. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. What an intro there. Thank you. And thank you for having me on.
Oh, our pleasure. Actually, this has been a long time coming. We just had the commissioner on last week, Nick Sakevich. And I'll be honest, Devan, he was so positive about the future of the NLL. And we all know with the team coming into Texas that the league will literally be bigger than ever when it comes back. How many fingers do you have crossed that this is going to happen come next April?
If it was possible to cross all of them, then that would be the case. But I'm definitely, really hopeful. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long off season, but I think I can make it a few more months. A lot of things can change. Like I actually watched Nick's interview with you and he said it perfectly, we're aiming for April. I think using the word targeting means, anything can change, anything can happen, but that also means things could be better than they are right now. So all of my fingers are crossed to answer your question.
Well, I'm a Rush fan. I'm a Rush season ticket holder, and I was a little disappointed because we were halfway through the season and the Rush were just getting rolling. So I'm one of those disappointed millions of NLL fans. But I've kept busy doing other things. How about you? You work in the league. What's your last 8 to 9 months been like?
It's been a roller coaster. It's funny looking back to March. I think not just us, but a lot of people, at least here in the States, were like, this is only going to last a month. Like we just have to, find content and do stuff for a month. So when it first started, I was actually still really busy, I'd say, for the first 3 months because we were still, churning out content. As I heard you read in my Twitter bio, I am also senior producer as well as being, the on-air host for the league. So we were doing Skype interviews, Instagram lives, Zooms, and that lasted, through the summer. And that's because we kind of called that, our content for the 2019-2020 season. So now we're kind of looking ahead. We're in full off-season mode post-draft that happened in September. And then we're going to start gearing up for our preseason content in a few months. So, the off-season's always slow for me, but I'm just trying to take advantage of it because I know once things get going, my life is going to be pretty crazy.
Of course. And the good news is, and the commissioner assured us of it, the NLL is coming back. There's some other leagues that cannot potentially say the same thing from a financial thing. But I got to ask you this about Philly, and you might have saw Dan Saravelli's coming up next. He might just be down the street from you. I don't know, from the Enterprise podcast. But I had occasion to do an event last February. Flyers great Bernie Parent was there. And I've never been to Philly. He's invited me down there, and he goes, I go to all the Eagles games. I go to the Flyers games. I go to all the Phillies games. And the Wings. I love the Wings. Do you guys?
I love the Wings.
He loves the Wings. He absolutely loves the Wings. But we didn't really get into it. Do the Wings play in the same arena as the Flyers and the 76ers? Are you part of that whole group?
Yes. Yeah. The Wings ownership is the same as the Flyers. But all three teams play at the Wells Fargo Center.
So what's that like? And again, I've never been to Philly. I've told Dan, and I will again when he comes on. It's on my bucket list as soon as the border opens and we can roll. What's it like? That's a busy venue, obviously.
Philly, I'm born and raised just outside Philly, so I might be a little biased, but I love Philly. It's awesome. We're also one of the few cities that has all of our arenas and stadiums in one location. So they're all just in South Philly. So right next to the Wells Fargo Center, where the Flyers, Sixers, and Wings play, is Lincoln Financial Field, where the Eagles play, and then Citizens Bank Park, where the Phillies play. And then in the middle, there's this massive venue called Xfinity Live, where we actually host our NLL draft usually every year. Obviously, this past year it was virtual, but it's wild down there. It's probably my favorite environment in the world. I think if I had a visitor in town and they said, take me to the most, essential Philly place to really get the energy of the city, that's where I would take them down there, especially on like an Eagles game day when there's tailgating. It's crazy.
Darren, we have a tour guide as you heard, for our next sports
and
trip.
you wanted to go to Philly.
And I want to go to Philly. But the other thing, by the way, a lot of the Flyers greats are from here. That's where Dan Saravelli and I connected. He's like, tell me about Brian Propp. Tell me about Rich Sutter. Tell me about Bobby Clark. They're all from right here, Devan. And I got to think the NLL would fit perfectly with Philly. Like, are you tough? Because it seems like everybody from Philly is tough. Like, is that a bad rep or is that a true rep?
I don't think it's a bad thing. Yeah, I think everyone from Philly has this kind of gritty attitude, even if you realize it or not. Like, everyone from here is great. I think maybe other people perceive it as tough, but my opinion is that we're just really honest and gritty and inclusive. I don't know. I don't know if tough is the right word, but then, yeah, I guess our fans are pretty tough sometimes.
Well, that's the reputation as the fan base that booed Santa Claus in a parade. And I guess maybe that's why the Flyers mascot is nicknamed Gritty. Let me ask you this. Yeah, let me ask you this too, Devan, as the host of the NLL. Have you been to every venue across the league in your role?
No, I haven't. I really want to. That's a goal. And I was kind of upset. I was very upset that our season was cut short because we actually had a plan to go to Saskatchewan. I've never been to a Rush game. And I feel like that's just like the essential NLL experience. I know they pack the place and they're obviously an amazing team. And I've never been to that area of Canada. I'm working my way down the list though. And sorry, that trip obviously didn't happen. So it was supposed to happen in April, but I've made it to a few places now. I've been to Calgary, Halifax, Toronto, Buffalo, San Diego. So a lot of our US markets, but Canada, there are definitely still a few that I want to check off my list. So I'm kind of eager for the season to get going and for the border to open. So I'm allowed to do that.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Rush Nation just woke up to hearing you say that. And by the way, you should see Darren's eyes just went, oh, yeah. Well, you're talking about beautiful cities, by the way. Calgary, Halifax, Saskatoon is beautiful, too. So, yeah, as I think about it with the Rush, that's what I miss the most is we talk about Philly and that town's reputation. What's the Rush Nation's reputation across the NLL? You just said the essential NLL experience. What have you heard?
I mean, I've just heard that the SaskTel Center is crazy. I think the most electric NLL, game day energy I've felt was in Calgary during game 2 of the finals in 2019. I mean, that place was packed and screaming and everyone just kept saying, oh, you think this is crazy? This is what Saskatchewan does for every single game. That was a finals game. So, and that team is just, I mean, I remember they came to Philly this last season and I'm Philly's sideline reporter and they just operate with, like, I call them the New England Patriots of the NLL. I guess I don't know if that fully applies anymore now that Tom Brady isn't with the Pats, but Derek Keenan just runs like a really tight ship, I think. They operate like a machine, that team, and they're really fun to watch. They're all really good lacrosse players.
By the way, I've called them the Patriots of the NLL too, and they don't seem to mind. And Ben McIntosh is no longer with the Rush. He's a heart and soul guy. He's with the Philly Wings now, as you obviously know. So I guess, as we wrap this up, Devan, there is a heck of a lot of things to be excited about for the NLL next year. Wouldn't you agree? Whenever it does come back, with all the things that we've just talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to, I'm still, working and I am still busy, but I'm excited to just get back to game day. Like, there's nothing like the energy of walking into an arena on game day, whether it's in Philly or Calgary or Halifax or wherever, and watching the best lacrosse players in the world. I mean, these guys are truly incredible players, and I feel lucky that I get to help tell their stories. I mean, I miss doing in-person interviews. It's been like 7 months. So I'm just excited to start gearing up for the season. And I'm very hopeful that it will, actually start in April and we'll have our NLL back.
Do you want to, on a scale of 1 to 10, or give a percentage of what you think, whether the league will play or not? I'm not a Debbie Downer by nature. maybe somewhat fearful of what's happened the last 8-9 months. But like, do you think it's going to happen? Even Nick said, he goes, this is a targeted date. It's not a firm date. What do you think the chances are that it happens?
I think pretty high. I don't want to give a number because I don't want anyone to, take that and run with it. But I do think that there is a very, likely chance that we play. Again, April's far away, and we do have the luxury of watching what, other leagues like the NBA and NHL do before us. So I think we have, 5 months to go. And in those months, we can definitely figure it out. Whether we have to figure out the border, if it's still closed, I think our leadership will kind of navigate the way. So I'm hopeful. I think we will have a season. I can't put a number on it, though.
Well, you talk about leaders. The NLL has tremendous leaders. So I guess that's the faith that we have to have in them. Give her a follow, everybody. Devan Kaney on Twitter and Instagram. She is the face of the NLL. And for those in sports that say the NLL is a hidden treasure of sport, it is, but it can't continue that way. The potential is enormous. We just need to get behind our teams, right? And it starts with following Devan. Devan, thanks for the time. Stay safe, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Devan. Devan Kaney. And by the way, Todd Pinkney, who's a huge Philly fan, Flyers and Eagles, writes in and says, I'm calling it right now. This is your rock star of the day.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.